Good morning, tribe. I'm hoping that everybody can hear me. It is 15 minutes of Fierce with Lisa Copeland. I am not Lisa Copeland. She is currently on a plane on her way to New York. Hello, Michael, and hello, Natalie. And she is on her way to New York, and I am going to be with you today. I'm so honored. I want to thank Lisa for this great opportunity. And my name is Dr. Natalie Phillips. I am a mom of two beautiful children, and I am a wife of, my husband is a head strength and conditioning coach here at Colorado State University. We are here in Colorado, and I am an audiologist. An audiologist, for those of you who don't know, is somebody who diagnoses and treats hearing loss. I also work with people that have tinnitus or sound sensitivity, dizziness. I work with cochlear implants, as well as I actually work with some concussion patients as well. And so that's what I do for my business during the day. Hello, Alicia and Crystal and Tiffany. I also help I help manage my kids' music group called Makoa Music, and I help my husband run his nonprofit organization called DOGS. DOGS stands for Dad Ambassadors for Well-Being and Good Service, and we provide environments for dads to spend time with their kids. And then lastly, but not definitely the least, is I'm a business owner of Connect for Excellence. And what I do is I help individuals and businesses connect to themselves through vision boarding, through social media and at events, and then also really connect them to trying to weave in giving back in their businesses. And that's what I do. So thank you for joining me today, tribe. And I'm super excited to talk to you this morning. And what I'd like to focus on today is connection, which is basically what I built my business around. Hello, Chris and Megan. And I want to just kind of spend some time talking about connection and just some thoughts that I had about why is it so important? Why is connection so important to be successful? So first, I want to start talking about the two different types of connection that I want you guys to think about today. Number one is who we sell to. Obviously, we're all business people here and sellers, big sellers, but really, who do we sell to? For me, in my practice as an audiologist, they're my patients. You know, they could be your clients as well. But for my patients, these are the people that I have to try to connect to or understand before I can start helping them. So, you know, I'm going to start with the story of the typical spouse, husband, wife that comes into my office and they say, usually it's the wife that says, you have to get my husband to hear me. And I'm like, okay, I smile at them nicely. And, you know, we kind of go through the history and we sit down, I do the test. And sometimes it comes out great where the husband actually has a hearing loss. And then I can say, okay, you have a hearing loss. This is what we're going to do. This is how we can help you. Sometimes though, and some of the audiologists that might be on here can vouch for this as well. But sometimes there's normal hearing. And then you have to take the person out and sit down with them and say, okay, so here's the deal. You actually have normal hearing, and then you have to laugh about it, and then you have to wait till they place blame, and then you have to start really talking about and actually stepping back to say, okay, well, why did they come into my office in the first place? Well, number one, it really isn't about hearing. It really isn't about one spouse listening to the other, but it really is about connecting. You know, the spouse came in, whether it's the wife or the husband. I've singled out the husband not hearing or not listening. And, you know, we go through the whole selective listening, ha ha ha, you know, husband not hearing me type of thing. But really, if you delve into it, it's because they're not connecting on some level. And I'm not a psychologist and we don't spend time doing that. But at the same time, you really have to start to think and spend some time with your patients, with your clients about why is that connection not happening. And good morning, Melissa and Laura and Dina. Thank you for joining me this morning. So, you know, think about number one, who we're selling to is the type of connection that I want you to think about. The second type is just us, our colleagues, professionals, other professionals, to keep us accountable, to help us learn. I want to tell a story about how, I work Monday through Thursday in the clinic, and I see patients. And on Fridays, I work on my other businesses, and I for a long time started to go out on my Fridays. Hello, Janelle. And I would sit with people in the community, and I would just sit and meet and talk to them and learn about what they do. And it wasn't anything I actually, to tell you the truth, I actually didn't know why I was doing it. I just thought it was kind of interesting, and I wanted to make connections in our community here in Fort Collins. But, I spent the Fridays, I would book meeting after meeting and just sit and listen. And I remember, and this was very humbling, but I remember I was in the middle of running an event, and I had booked some time to meet with someone, and it actually was an IT guy. And I was really, really tired, and I thought, oh my gosh, I really don't want to go. What am I going to learn from him? And it was so funny. I didn't cancel. I just couldn't do it. Good morning, Nigel and Robin. But I sat down with him, and I forced myself to go. I kind of had that feeling like, just a little, when you force yourself to go to do something, you're just not mentally in it. But I went anyway because I said I was going to do it. I went, and I tell you, it was so humbling because it was probably one of my most favorite meetings. I did learn about what he did. He learned about what I did, but it wasn't anything about how can I use your services? It basically was, we were just there listening to each other's stories, which is what we usually do. And at the end of the conversation, it was, how can I connect you to somebody else? Oh, here, you need to make a meeting with this person, and this person is what he told me. Come to this meeting, do that, and he introduced me to so many people in the Fort Collins community. I mean, I can't even imagine if I didn't go to that meeting, what would have happened. And so make these connections, that's another type of connection. So if you're just joining us, talking about connections, how it's successful and how we need to focus on this and why it's so important, and really focusing on connections of who we sell to and your audience and your patients, your clients, as well as your colleagues and other professionals. So, but connections take time, right? So a lot of us are running around to different things and working in our businesses, working on our businesses, and connections take time. But is it really worth it? You have to ask yourself that question. So, I want to shift the focus really quick. And for all of you morning people who are joining me today, I want to take a poll. Okay. I want to ask you guys, do you think it's harder? Do you think it's easier? Or do you think there's no difference in making connections face to face versus online? I'm really curious to find out. So I want to kind of see some of these comments coming in. Good morning, Faye and Lisa and James. So the question again, I want you guys to answer is, do you think that it's easier? Do you think that it's harder? Or do you think there's no difference in making connections, whether you're online or whether you are face to face? It's kind of an interesting thing. I know what I believe, but I want to know what you guys think. All right. So waiting for some of those things to come in, think about it too. Why, if you're more comfortable with face to face, think about why. Is it because that's just what we're used to? Is it because you are, I feel like sometimes millennials are better at making connections online because, their heads are down and they're texting or, they can connect better through a message versus online. I was working with somebody and it was actually an athlete of my husband's, and she was really freaked out about having an interview face to face. And I was like, what are you talking about? And she said, it's because I don't know how to talk on the phone. It wasn't even face to face, actually. It was on the phone. And she said, I don't know how to talk on the phone. And I'm like, oh my goodness, and I thought about this and how it's so interesting how people, depending, I don't know if it's age, I don't know if it's gender, I have no idea. I'm getting some answers here. I want to look. Some people, Natalie says, I prefer in-person communication because of face-to-face. Online, volume of connections. Robin says face-to-face is more authentic. Tiffany says face-to-face. Okay, this is awesome. James says can't fake it, but I don't know if that's probably face-to-face. More people say in person for a more authentic connection. That was Alicia too. So thank you for some of your answers, because I kind of want to talk about this issue, because I feel like as technology grows, we are going to continue to have to figure out how we're going to connect both face-to-face and online. Crystal says texting and messaging have opportunities for your message to be misread. Totally true. Face-to-face, Facebook Live are amazing, and I prefer those two. Faye says, I enjoy face-to-face connections, but I think it's easier to make connections online. Interesting. So there's a lot of people that are going both ways, right? Good morning, Zelinda. Face-to-face. Okay. So, today I want to also ask you one other question is, for the people that are more face-to-face, right, that they prefer face-to-face over online, do you feel that there are opportunities for you to become a better social listener? And I love that term, because I feel like social listening is kind of watching people online and figuring out how comfortable they are, whether, it's by how they post or how often they are online. I mean, you're not like stalking people, okay? But you're basically spending time trying to see, okay, well, are they going to connect me better online, or should I make this face-to-face? Lisa says, I coach by Zoom every day and it's amazing. I totally agree. I love all this technology. I'm not as much of a tech geek as Ken Walls, okay, but I love technology, probably just by being an audiologist. So I think it's really important and, interesting that even if you're not so much of a online, that you sort of weave this in, because I think that it's going to give you opportunities to be able to connect in different ways. So I want to introduce to you guys today the three connections or the three C's of a connection. And I'm just looking at the time, and oh my goodness, I have to rush through this because I can talk forever. So if I go over and you guys need to hop off, I'm sorry, Lisa. I was going to try to be a respecter of time, but I would love to try to see if I can get everything in here. And thank you, everybody, for joining me today. All right, so the three C's of connection. First thing is being consistent, right? So being consistent in any relationship, you have to work at it. Face to face, I've got a girlfriend that you have to make that phone call. You have to take that meeting. You have to take that drink to catch up. Yes, you have to make that drink, after work to catch up, but you do in order to foster these relationships. So in person, those are the ways that you stay consistent. But how do you stay consistent online? Number one, post regularly. Okay. So pick something that you can do. Don't pick something that you are going to say, I'm going to post 5 days a week, and you only post 3 days a week. Thank you, Crystal. I'm going to keep going. Okay, so being consistent online means that you post regularly. Use hashtags. In my audiology business, what I do is I use hashtags for the days of the week. I do Medical Monday, Tinnitus Tuesday, Weird Fact Wednesday. I do Technology Thursday, Fun Fact Friday. And then in my Connect for Excellence business, I use Social Media Monday. And I start the post off with a hashtag. And so sometimes it's helpful. For my business, I do Social Media Monday. I do Testimonial Tuesday, and I put up my testimonials. Sometimes I do Tuesday tips, and they're a business tip. Wednesday, what do I do for Wednesday? I don't know. Wow, Wednesday. I make it up sometimes as I go. Thursdays, sometimes I do Thoughtful Thursday. Philanthropy Friday. I know it's a PH, but I kind of like the play on words. So Philanthropy Friday, and it gives me an opportunity to highlight something that we want to do to give back. So hashtags, the reason why I like to use those hashtags in the beginning is because if you have followers that come and see what you're posting on a weekly basis, it's like they come back for that certain time. So like my tinnitus patients know that I'm going to do a tinnitus post. Tinnitus for people who don't know, is ringing or sounds in the ears. And so I will do something on Tuesdays in my audiology business that shows something that might be helpful to my tinnitus patients. So things like that. So use hashtags. That's how you stay consistent. So the first C of a connection is staying consistent. One way is to post regularly. That's how you would do it online. Another thing, and this is kind of interesting, I was thinking about, is things like Facebook Live and posts. And, how you stay consistent is after you're done. You might not be able to do it now, but while you're in a Facebook Live, but after you're done, go back and react. Number one would be react. Hit the like on some of the comments that people are making. And I'm going to go through and do this when I'm done. but react, like, love, whatever you feel like, reacting to that comment. Even better would be commenting back. Say, thank you, Crystal, or thank you, Janelle, or Nigel, and Nigel's going to be listening on the phone. Thank you for listening on the phone as you go to the rest of your day. Certain things like that. Even better would be, how did you connect to this person? I don't know all of you yet, but it might be something where, like Janelle, I remember you won something, right, on one of the Fierce shows. And so, it might be like, hey, how's that book? Did you read it yet? Did you find anything that you can share with us or something like that? That would be even a step further of how you could connect online. And then the last thing about connecting would be having that integrity. So if you say that you are going to do something, do it. If you say here like, hey, yes, Dina, loving these ideas for my own business, I'll get back to you. Well, if I say that online, I better reach out to Dina and say, hey, let me know if you need any other help or whatever. Or if you need a link, post it right away. I love to get things done right away, because then it's like, it takes away from my brain space. I don't have to worry about it anymore. So if I say I'm going to get you that contact or get you a link, as soon as I'm done doing what I'm doing, I'm most likely going to get that to you, only because, not because I'm on the ball, but only because I need it to get in and then like get back out. So, having the integrity. So we're talking about, if you're just joining us, the 3 C's of a good connection. The first C is being consistent. The second C is being confident. So in person, people are drawn to you and your confidence as long as it's not overly done, and as long as I feel like your why is still coming out. And so in person, it's so easy initially for people to see your confidence, because when you walk in the room, they already are starting to look at how your hair is and how you're dressed and how your body language is, and if you're leaning in, So in person, it's really easy to see that confidence. But online, what does that mean? To me, online, having confidence to make that connection would be professionalism, well thought out messages that you're posting that don't ramble on, that are very concise, that have a clear ask, and no spelling errors. Now I know, I have to say I do post things really quickly, and I see a spelling error and I'll go quickly and edit it. And then I kind of like smack my head, because I'm thinking, oh my gosh, why didn't I just take that extra second to step back, read through everything before I hit send or post or whatever it was. And that's all it takes, is a second. I tell you, we get resumes in, and if it has a spelling error, I'm sorry, but we check it. We don't even look past that anymore, and spelling is really important. And so that's one of the ways that, to me, shows your confidence. Just take a step back, a couple of seconds. It doesn't take that long. Another way to show confidence online is to just reach out and do it. Just reach out and make that connection. I feel like it's so much easier with technology nowadays that you can direct message. You don't have to have somebody's cell phone. You can direct message. You can private message, Facebook message. Now, it's a little bit harder on Twitter, because on Twitter, in order to send a message to someone, you have to they have to actually follow you in order to send a message. But you can send a message by direct message on LinkedIn, on Facebook, as well as you guys know. But, reaching out. I want to tell another story. I know I'm going to go over, but honestly, and if she hears this, she's going to just laugh. But I went to, I was part of a leadership summit at the Girl Up Leadership Summit at the UN Foundation. In fact, Lisa was there with me, and I heard Jen Welter speak, and she is the first female NFL coach. And at the time, this was years ago, 2 or 3 years ago, I thought, wow, she's incredibly inspiring, and that's all I thought. I didn't think anything like, oh my gosh, I need to connect to her, and nothing creepy like that. Okay. It was just like, oh my gosh, this woman is incredible. Started following her on Twitter, would retweet or respond to different things that she did. And she started to follow me back. And I said, great, and, over time, we just started to have this, relationship of just, hey, she's helping me push some things out. I'm going to like what she's doing. But it came down to, I was hosting a global summit. And I saw that Jen Welter was going to be in the town that I was hosting. And I thought, oh my gosh, it would be awesome if she could be on stage and talk, because I've heard her speak 2 years ago and she was amazing. And so I reached out to the organizers and I said, okay, So I heard this woman speak at the UN Foundation, and I think she would be great on stage. What do you think? And they said, great. Summit is in about a week. If you can handle that, that would be great. And I thought, oh my gosh, okay, what? I have to reach out to her. Like, she doesn't even know who I am. And so I was like, oh my gosh. I said, all right, suck it up. Let's just do it. So luckily she was on Twitter and she followed me. So I sent her a message, and it really is fake it till you make it, because I basically said, hello, I am this MC for this global summit that we're doing. And I would love to know we would love to have you on stage. We'll give you 30 minutes. I know you just released a book in October, and we would love to have a booth to have you sign your books, and we'll give you 30 minutes on stage. What do you say? And I thought, oh my gosh, this is like a Hail Mary. Like, I have no idea if this is going to work or not. And it ended up, long story short, it ended up working. We actually became really good friends. And that is my story. That is my ultimate story of just reach out online to somebody that you think that you might not even think that they're going to respond, but you could be surprised. So going through, for people who have just joined me, I'm not even keeping up with these comments yet. But to get back to what we're talking about, it's the 3 C's of making a good connection. The first one is being consistent. The second one is having confidence. The last C of making a good connection is to be considerate. Be considerate. Be smart. Okay. I'm going to throw in a side C if I can do it, because I think it's funny. Don't be a creeper, okay? Don't be a creeper. Be considerate. What that means is, if you're trying to connect somebody to somebody else, and maybe they're kind of old school and they are not on Facebook all the time, go back to email. Go back to email and introduce them that way. There is no problem doing that. But you have to be considerate of people, and don't just do something because it's easier for you, but do it because it's consideration of how people and how comfortable they are, I guess, in making that connection. So don't force somebody to necessarily make that connection online just because it's easier for you. Yes, Alicia, consistent, confident, considerate, don't be a creeper. I'm not sure if I'm going to like that I said don't be a creeper, but anyway, but try to be considerate, and going for the right reasons. Going back to that story I told about me meeting that IT person, going for the right reasons, going with an open mind. You don't know what's going to happen. You don't know if you're going to have something that comes out that benefits your business right away. It could be down the line, but you have to take that call. You have to make that meeting. You have to go in with the right reasons. Otherwise, it's just not authentic. And the last thing I'm going to say is give credit where credit is due. This goes back to online. Nowadays, I feel like there's so many ideas out there, and they're not necessarily original, which is okay. You can fill your content and what you're posting on your pages with things that other people have shared. Just give credit where credit is due. That is being considerate. That is making that connection. Who knows? If you say thanks to so-and-so for this great article or this great picture, you never know if they reach back out to you and that made a connection because you gave credit to where it came from. And so again, the 3 C's of connection. Thank you for everybody kind of staying in with me. Being consistent, being confident, being considerate. Now, I have one last thing. I'm going to give you a challenge because I'm a tiger mom and I want you guys to do some work. So in the next 24 hours before the next show tomorrow when Lisa gets back, okay, I want you guys to connect, okay? She has wanted us to, she's built this environment for us to do some of this social media networking, right? This is our community. And so in the next 24 hours, I challenge you guys to think about someone that you wanted to connect to on this page. It doesn't even have to be on this page. It could have been somebody that you're thinking, well, you're watching on social media going, I don't know. I don't think so. Do it. Just do it. I'm going to post something in a thread and we're going to celebrate everybody's wins. Okay. So when I get done, I'm going to read through all these comments and then I'm going to post something and the clock is going to start now. You have 24 hours. I would love for you guys to reach out to somebody and make that connection and then post it in another thread that I'm going to put up so that we can celebrate everybody's wins. Thank you very much. I totally went over. Lisa might kill me, but Oh well, oh well. Like Ken Walls, I was working with Ken Walls last night and he said, if you're going to need help, it's too late. So you know what? I went over and sorry, Lisa, it's too late. But thank you so much for joining me this morning and for spending your time, big sellers. And I'm thankful for you and for Lisa and for this tribe, and go have a great morning. Bye.